The impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown have exacerbated and exposed a number of injustices in our society, one of which has been the racial and economic disparities in the American education system. Previous inequalities in funding, student support resources, and the impact they have on student achievement have never been more clear. Low-income students of color are less likely to have access to devices and internet connections to establish a secure connection for digital learning, leading them to fall 6 to 12 months behind. Schools in lower income areas also tend to have fewer resources available to support students in dealing with their issues, most critically in mental health, which is one of the main causes behind falling levels of achievement. In addition, the cancellation of many in-person activities that would often supplement a student's resume leaves standardized testing, which tends to favor higher income students with access to tutoring or multiple tests, to be the only factor for determining achievement outside of school for many, though many schools have also gone test optional to try to accommodate these new circumstances.
For many years, public education has been funded by a mix of federal grants and state revenue, linking the quality of your education to your socioeconomic status. This has an effect on all aspects of education, but standardized testing is particularly susceptible. Access to personal and school resources like tutors, skilled teachers, and updated study guides has introduced a financial bias into standardized testing. However, this was not the original goal of the testing as we know it. So in 1920, the first round of national standardized testing began, with almost 500,000 tests being published that fall. The SAT was published 6 years later, in 1926. While standardized testing was popular and widespread during this time, it still had many critics, including the famed educator John Dewey, who bemoaned the use of standardized testing as a measure of intelligence. Despite his warnings, standardized tests continued to grow and expand across the nation over the next several decades. However, it was drastically changed in 2001 when it became the all-encompassing measurement tool we know it as today. The No Child Left Behind Act was signed into law by President George W. Bush that year. The goal of the law was to increase accountability for teachers and students, as well as increase options for parents and students, flexibility for school districts, and the emphasis on reading. The No Child Left Behind Act introduced state-mandated testing for most children at almost every grade to assess both student learning and teacher instruction. Unfortunately, due to the economic disparities in education, tests often become measurements of socioeconomic status and access to resources rather than a tool of learning.
With everything that is going on, it's really important that we stay educated. You can help by taking part in our Take a Stance Against Racism campaign. Get involved in your own community and use your voice. Attend school board meetings and find local activists. It is really important to let decision makers know that we care. Take a step and help make your school equitable for everyone. Let's make this dream into a reality. Thank you.